Owner fired my dad, then came asking for work. Denied. Trevor Harlan thought he was untouchable. Guy owned 3 auto shops around town and treated his mechanics like dirt, strutting around in pressed khakis and polo shirts, barking orders and breathing down everyone's necks. My dad, Calder, worked for him for 8 years, never missed a day, always stayed late when customers needed their cars fixed urgently. Trevor paid him barely above minimum wage while charging customers premium rates for Ray's expert work. Ray was Trevor's best mechanic, could diagnose engine problems just by listening to them idle, fix transmissions other shops couldn't handle, and had customers specifically requesting him by name. But Trevor was paranoid about mechanics stealing his customers, so he forbade Ray from giving anyone his personal number or working side jobs. Ray followed every rule because he needed the job, swallowing his pride when Trevor would criticize his work in front of customers or dock his pay for made-up infractions. Then, Ray's back finally gave out from years of crawling under cars on concrete floors. 23 years of contorting his body into impossible positions had compressed his spine and pinched nerves. The doctor said he needed surgery and 6 weeks recovery minimum. Trevor fired him the next day, claiming he couldn't afford to hold positions for injured workers. No severance, no consideration for 8 years of loyalty, just a pink slip and a lecture about how business is business. Trevor told other shop owners Ray was unreliable and had attendance issues. The automotive community in our town was tight-knit, and Trevor's poison spread fast. We struggled hard those months. Lena, my mom, picked up extra nursing shifts. I started working weekends at 16, and Ray applied everywhere, but Trevor's lies had poisoned the well. Finally, Ray started fixing cars in our garage for cash, working through constant back pain because we were desperate. Word spread quickly through neighbors and church friends. His reputation for honest repairs and fair prices brought customers from across the county. People would drive an hour just to have him look at their cars because they trusted him not to rip them off. Within a year, Ray had saved enough to rent a proper shop downtown. By year 2, he had 4 employees and a waiting list of customers. He treated his workers like family, paid them well above market rate, and shared profits at Christmas. Meanwhile, Trevor's shops were hemorrhaging money. Turns out, losing your best mechanic and having a reputation for screwing over employees makes it hard to keep good workers. His remaining mechanics were either inexperienced kids who made costly mistakes or incompetent veterans other shops had already fired. Customer complaints skyrocketed. Then one morning, Trevor showed up at Ray's shop. Looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. His clothes were wrinkled, his usually perfect hair was a mess, and his confident swagger was gone. He walked straight up to Ray and started talking about water under the bridge and how they'd both grown as businessmen. His voice had a desperate edge I'd never heard before. Ray let him finish his whole pitch about bringing the team back together and offering partnership opportunities. Trevor even claimed he'd learned from his mistakes and wanted to make things right, painting a picture of them working together, combining customer bases, splitting profits. When Trevor finally stopped talking, wiping sweat from his forehead despite the cool morning air, Ray looked at him calmly and said, "Remember when you told me I was unreliable? Well, you can rely on this. Find someone else." Trevor's face went red. He started yelling about how Ray was being unprofessional and holding grudges, threatening to spread more lies around town. Ray just turned back to the engine he was working on, his tools steady in his hands. 6 months later, Trevor had to close 2 of his 3 shops. Last I heard, he was working as a parts counter guy at AutoZone. Ray's business is booming and just bought the building next door for expansion.